Evolution, where creatures develop over thousands of millennia to determine who is fit for survival. The factor which decides whether you adapt or you perish. But this isn't science, so get that shit straight out of my face! This is Pokémon, where logic is defied and real science is non-existent. It doesn't even make sense. I mean, it takes like 5 seconds to happen and you can cancel it by pressing B. And it can happen by stones, level, trading, and apparently, happiness / friendship. So I listed them. Top 5 happiness / friendship evolutions. There's only like 16 of them, so, you know. Number 5, Blissey, the evolution of Chansey. Chansey on its own was already a defensive beast, but evolving it into Blissey took that defensive wall of a Pokemon and added a giant adamantium force field over it. Blissey has all of the support moves you would ever need. It can heal all of your team's stats inflictions while dishing out some of its own. It can stall the hell out of you with Wish or Soft Boiled along with Protect. And with all of these stalling shenanigans, by the time you manage to take down Blissey, we'll have Hoenn remakes. But in order to get Blissey, you have to make Chansey a happy little girl. What? They're all girls, so fucking... To be fair though, if you get a solid close combat hit, then you can destroy the adamantium wall that is Blissey. Because I forgot to mention that its special defense is high, but physical defense, only a base stat of around 10. It's exactly 10. So yeah, let's just say a close combat would definitely not make Blissey a happy little girl. It might make it so pissed off that it transforms back into Chansey. Maybe even Happiny if it's that pissed off. More like not so happiny. But still, even with a base stat which barely scrapes across double digits, and even with a ball-busting fighting move like close combat, you still have to get past all of this bulk! 103 pounds of pure erect nipple-inducing bulk! At max HP, Blissey almost has a single hit point for every Pokemon there is. And in this day and age, there's a lot of fucking Pokemon. And as it turns out, Blissey happens to be the happiness Pokemon. How happy could it be? Well, according to the Dex, its eggs are filled with happiness. Well, alright then. Back in Gen 2, you'd get to the first main town and some fucking guy says he knows Professor Oak or some shit, I don't know. He just gives you an egg. You don't need to question it though, no really, you don't. Just let this happen, just take the fucking egg. In the Pokemon universe, there's no question that eggs would be the main way to smuggle drugs across each region. So, as you can tell, I was pretty disappointed to find out the egg was just a Togepi. But it doesn't matter now, because you have a Togepi, and this Togepi, when given enough items, screen time, and haircuts, will eventually become happy enough to evolve into Togetic, the happiness Pokemon. Wait, that sounds familiar. I thought this cream puff was the happiness Pokemon. I mean, it literally has happiness growing out of its crotch. You can't compete with that. And everyone knows that crotch happiness is the best kind of happiness. Okay, there's only one way of deciding who is the real happiness Pokemon. Only one action-packed way to determine the superior being. A way that could only be done in the Pokemon world. A battle of debate! Wait. I'm not getting involved in a Pokemon debate. I'm not starting the war of attrition of a Pokemon argument with the internet. Nope. I fold. I'm out. See you. Wait! If Blissey's eggs are filled with happiness, and Togetic is the happiness Pokemon, then that could technically mean that Blissey's eggs are filled with Togetics. Or maybe even more Blisseys. So that's what it meant by happiness. Or drugs. Probably drugs. Anyway, back when the whole friendship and happiness thing was new, this was likely to be the first happiness evolution you'd find. This was the happiness evolution of the game. Well, up until you realized Crobat was a thing. I've never really had the chance to use Togetic properly, so to be honest, I don't really know how good it is. It probably isn't that good. But it has a good design, and that's enough for me, damn it! And it gives Togepi more of a purpose instead of being another filler Pokemon, and ever since Gen 4, Togetic is just one shiny stone away from becoming Togekiss. Now, I don't know about Togetic in battle, but Togekiss can be useful as hell. And ever since Gen 6, it's now a Fairy type. And Fairy types, they know how to tear shit up. Number 3, Lucario. When Rylu's happy enough in the daytime, it'll evolve into Lucario. I didn't even know Lucario was a happiness evolution until now. And I think by now everyone knows Lucario. I mean, he got a movie, he was in Smash Bros, he's gonna be in Smash Bros again. It got a Mega Evolution and people abuse its power online. Then again, it makes sense why it gets used a lot. The Mega Evolution just made it easier to sweep teams, and sweep teams is something this thing does on a daily basis. And it's banned. Banned, I say! Banished to the Shadow Realm with the rest of the Uber tier. But still, it's a good Pokemon, design and statistically. I like it more without the Mega Evolution though, it really didn't need one, but then again, most of the Pokemon that did get Mega Evolutions didn't need one either. There's so many unnecessary Mega Evolutions you could make a Pokerap out of them. Oh, it's true, fucking get a load of this shit. There's Mega, Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, Tyranitar, Alakazam, Aerodactyl, Mewtwo, Gengar, Scizor, Blaziken, Aggron, Gyarados, Garchomp, Gardevoir, Bulbasaur, Ampharos. You see? This just backs up my rule. Rule 151. If something exists, then you can make a Pokerap about it. Lucario didn't need one, but maybe its Mega Evolution is there to give Nintendo an actual reason to put Lucario back in Smash Bros. But still, they put in Greninja and Charizard, I'm fine with Lucario taking up a slot on the roster now. Either way, Lucario, Happiness Evolution, Mega Evolution, it's all good. Number 2, Crobat. Like I said, Togepi was the happiness evolution back in Gen 2, up until you get to that cave, catch yourself a Zubat and make that Zubat the happiest damn bat Pokemon there ever was. When Golbat's happy enough, it will evolve, and this isn't just your standard Pokemon evolution with a little stat increase. For once, this is real evolution! This is evolution for survival taking place. You see Golbat with his Slim Jim legs, while Crobat evolved, snapped into those Slim Jims and got 2 extra wings instead. And those extra wings aren't just there to make an already good design look even better. These extra wings are the reason why it has one of the highest speed stats in the game. Look at him! He's got wings for days! And it's not just your standard happiness evolution. Blissey and Togetic, they exist to spread happiness throughout the land. But Crobat is here to shock the universe and put tears into the eyes of children. Crobat was made by happiness to take happiness away from others. Because Crobat was made to piss you off. Crobat was made to be immune to any form of stalling shenanigans. All that stuff I said about Blissey applies to most opponents. Blissey's got bulk for days, but when Crobat's in your side of the squared circle of competitive battling, well, let's just say that Crobat is a swift kick straight in the happiness crotch of Blissey. Like I said, Blissey's got bulk for days, but none of it matters when Crobat uses a move like Super Fang. Cause with Super Fang straight away, 50% of all that HP is just wasted. He's just gonna heal himself. Well, against most, it could just heal itself, but do you really think the bat would come unprepared for this? Then, middle fingers are raised as Crobat taunts the fuck out of Blissey. And in just one move, in 1 second, we can't use any of its health moves, status healer moves, status infliction moves, it's near enough useless. What's it gonna do now? Flamethrower? Seismic Twice? It can use whatever offensive moves it wants to. It doesn't matter cause from this point on, it's cleanup on Route 3. So it has poison immunity, ground immunity, and stalling shenanigans immunity. And with Infiltrator, it has substitute immunity as well. Who would have thought that the bane of all people too cheap to buy repels would end up having a final evolution like this? Okay, fucking real talk for a second. Like I said, the whole friendship thing was made in Gen 2. You get Togepi, then you can get Zubat, but forget what I said, neither of them are really the real happiness evolutions. Because eventually you remember, if there's a new method of evolution, then Eevee is gonna be on that shit. Well, except trade evolutions, they haven't done that for some reason. But with happiness, Eevee can evolve into either Umbreon or Espeon. But which one do I choose? I like Umbreon's design more, but I like Espeon's usefulness more. Fuck it, I choose both. Deal with it. What? The fucking guy from Colosseum did it? What's his name? Snag 'em, man. And it evolves based on a newly introduced feature other than friendship back in Gen 2, when 3 years after the events of the first game, a random kid woke up Professor Oak, and Professor Oak, being the senile old man he is, asked for the time, and that time was said and set in stone. And that is how Professor Oak created time in the Pokemon universe. True story. Now, there was a time system. There was night and day, and Pokemon wasn't just one endless day of adventuring. But what in the blue hell does this have to do with Eevee? Well, similar to Lucario, Eevee evolves based on happiness and what time of the day it is. In the day you'll get Espeon, and you get Umbreon at night. But I can't decide on one, it's too hard to choose. Bill only gave me one Eevee, the dick. But there's 2 Eeveelutions, you see my problem? I can't get both of them from one Eevee. Unless I could always try one thing. What would happen if Eevee evolved at the exact time between the shift of day to night to create some kind of fusion Pokemon? It could have the power of both Umbreon and Espeon. It's a combination of the two, so I'd have to name it Umbreon. No, wait, what? Espeon. Fuck! Okay, screw it, it was a stupid idea anyway. But they're both good. You can't go wrong. Umbreon, Espeon, whatever one you choose, it doesn't matter. They're all good Pokémon. Nintendo announces these 4 words. Nintendo, Game Boy, Extravaganza! Out of fucking nowhere. Game Boy? No one had ever heard of such a device. Finally, a handheld that doesn't take more batteries than it would take to power a fucking nuclear reactor. At this moment in time, the world stops what they're doing in shock after hearing about this extravaganza.